That was my main thing, was the football, because like growing up in Peckham, like I'd say it was a broken home. There was a lot of trauma, a lot of struggles. It's a poverty-driven area, upbringing, people coming from diverse backgrounds and struggles. So I was taking all this pain and aggression out onto the streets. So football came mixed up with my lifestyle. I was doing really, really well at this stage football. So I'm training with the reserve team, I'm playing for the reserve team, training with the first team, making progress. I got scouted by Man United.
Wow.
Yeah, and England schoolboys. It was a big impact from that day forward. Life just changed. Deal with it how I know how to deal with it. On a night out, and got into a situation with somebody and ended up getting arrested for GBH. Make it happen, but you ain't gonna cut through without some sort of form of drama coming with it. Whether it's someone trying to rob you, or the police, or getting into problems, losing friendships, it just doesn't make sense. So the police got called, and yeah, me and my sister got sectioned straight away, like straight to the hospital. So remember, I'm lost and confused. I think I'm Superman. I've got this extreme amount of energy and power within me that I'm thinking I'm that guy, in it. Like, no one's messing with me. It doesn't matter if you've took me. So instead of calling it a breakdown, I'll call it a breakthrough for me, and an awakening. But same thing again, I kind of felt like I was under a spiritual attack, and it was like I was on some psychological warfare. Never ever think that you're too bad, because you will come across someone that's bigger and badder and will put you to the test. So
all right, so if you've not seen Daniel's videos, his life story is very intense and very harrowing. He's been through an absolute shit ton of things, from growing up, you know, aspiring to be a professional football player, and then tragedy befalls his family. I'm not going to say what, because he'll explain all that himself. Ends up in prison, ends up in an institution where he's getting heavily medicated. He's fighting mental shockwaves that are like trying to drag him down, but at the same time, he's trying to do the right thing. So he goes through this battle, goes inside himself, confronts his demons, and now he's out on the streets helping the homeless people, going up and down the country. So it's so inspirational when you hear what he's been through to what he's doing today. And we urge you to please support Daniel in his work. He's got his Instagram back on your feet, feet spelled F-E-A-T. He's got a GoFundMe, and his YouTube channel is Back on Your Feet TV, F-E-A-T TV. On all of Daniel's links will be in the description box below the video. So stay with us now for the next couple of hours as he takes us through his life story. Also co-hosting today is Jen. If you're not familiar with Jen, she runs an organic cotton clothing company called Boom and Jen. And you can catch her on Insta. All her links also will be on the description box. This video today has been organised by... Shall I give you a shout out? Yeah, by what's your channel? It Is What It Is TV. You may have seen some of the stuff on was done with Yami in the past couple of years or so. So also, It Is What It Is TV's link will be in the description box as well. Huge thank you to Nick for coordinating these interviews. Daniel then, right, let's start off with whereabouts you were growing up.
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for having me.
Oh, cheers.
It means a lot.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Yes, and big thank you to Nick from It Is What It Is TV. He's a childhood friend that's made this happen, so love and respect, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so my name's Daniel. I grew up in southeast London, so Peckham, so born and raised all my life, grew up in there. So those that don't know Peckham, or those that do, it's a poverty-driven area, upbringing, people coming from diverse backgrounds and struggles. So yeah, that's how it all really started for me in Peckham. Like,
so if you look at London then on the map, whereabouts is Peckham?
It's southeast.
Southeast,
London.
is it? Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. So that's southeast London. Yeah,
Yeah. And has it had a lot of like history of soccer and stuff like that?
Soccer,
Football.
yeah. Like Rio.
I spent 20 years in America. Sorry.
Yeah, Rio Ferdinand was from Peckham.
Yeah.
So he made it. His brother, many other footballers have come out of Peckham as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So as a young person growing up, then did that influence you? Those teams.
Yeah.
Players?
Like that was my main thing, was the football, because like growing up in Peckham, like I'd say it was a broken home.
Yeah.
There was a lot of trauma, a lot of struggles, and like I had both family members living in the same household, but they were both separated, so sleeping in different rooms. It was a bit hectic, a bit all over the place. So my thing was always sports. Yeah. So that's something that always I had a passion to break the cycle of what I was brought up in and to try to make it at the other side. So
That's what you channel your energy into as a young person.
Yeah.
Well, before we go there then, like you developing your sports skill, how did your parents meet?
Yeah. So they met, so my dad he's passed away now, but it's 84. So he was come from Malta because I'm half Maltese, half Scottish.
Right.
Yeah. And my dad came from Malta and then ended up meeting my mum at that point, but don't really know the
ins and outs.
The ins and outs and the history of it. Yeah.
Okay. So that's how they met. And then what about siblings?
Yeah, so I've got an elder brother who sadly passed away, and I've got two sisters.
How did your older brother pass away?
So, as I explained, like coming from a deprived background, going through the struggles, the upbringing, the household was never intact 110%. So my brother was out on the streets, and just being a young person, shouldn't have been really doing what he was doing. But at that time, there was a big craze where people were sniffing glue and fire extinguisher gas.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah. So he ended up choking on his own vomit as he tried to jump over my back garden wall and fell into the garden. Yeah, so he was only 12 when he died.
How old are you when he died?
I was 6.
6?
Yeah. So that had a big impact on my family breakdown, and my mum obviously turned to drink to cope for her coping mechanisms, and my dad was the one that kept the family like solid and kept the foundation strong.
Do you remember what you were doing when you found out about the death?
I can't. Do you know what? To be honest with you, I can't really remember the moment and the point. But I just, at being so young, I just remember, because we wasn't told straight away that it happened. But when we knew and we was aware of it happened, it was a big impact from that day forward. Life just changed. Like the sort of feelings, the emotions as a young person growing up, not knowing any different, and then having to go through seeing your mum, no disrespect to my mum because I love my mum, God rest her soul as well, she did her best to cope with what she was going through, losing a son, and obviously she's had a traumatic life herself, so it was very, very difficult from that moment on. Like there wasn't much happiness that I could remember, to be honest with you, like at all. It was just mayhem from the get-go. Yeah.
What was your relationship with your brother like before that happened?
Yeah, it was good. See, where I was only
carry on, I'll do my thing.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, open anytime. So far away.
Yeah, I like to free flow.
So I was only 6, so I've got memories, but not a lot of memories. But I was very protected by my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was very. He was a very special person, to be honest with you, and just lost his life way too soon.
Who introduced you to the football?
So from like I was saying, so where the trauma and the struggles, the mayhem that was going on in my household, that football was my escape. So anytime there was arguing, I'd just take the ball, go around the back, or go meet friends and play some football. So that was kind of my escape route. Yeah. So, but what also come with that was the battling the trauma or the emotions that you don't even know you're fighting against. I was taking all this pain and aggression out onto the streets. So football came mixed up with my lifestyle, which later, sadly, down the line, my career didn't go how it was supposed to, which I'll explain.
Are we talking about fighting?
Yeah, just always getting into fights and stuff, like growing up, not wanting to get into fights or going out purposely looking for fights. But when you're going through such a difficult time at home, seeing your family break down, your mum deteriorate on a day-to-day basis, like your sister struggling and your dad struggling, there's so much pain to kind of endure at a young age. Do you know what I mean? So I was my thing was just to escape the outside and then play football, and then whatever come on my way was kind of like just anger kind of thing.
It's totally understandable. So like your first 6 years, things are stable, this happens, must have just sent absolute, trauma and hell through the family.
Yeah.
And then people are falling back on self-medicating. Did you say your mum was drinking and stuff? Or?
Yeah, my mum ended up hitting the drink really bad at that point as well, because she just lost her sister as well. So imagine she's lost her sister, then her first son. So
that was around the same time.
Yeah, exact same.
Was she on any medication at the time as well?
Not that I know of.
No.
I know it was just strictly alcohol. It wasn't no other form of drugs or medication.
Well,
but yeah,
she powerful drug.
She definitely suffered with mental health issues as well, which I later understood as I grew up into an adult and started to battle with my emotions and stuff like that. So yeah, it was traumatic to say the least, to be honest with you, because a lot of things that people understood about me is, do you know what, Daniel, he's got a good heart, but he's just random. Like, it could just be spontaneous. So it was kind of the thing where there wasn't that love at home. Like, we knew we was loved, but there wasn't them hugs, them kisses, put to bed stories. Like some kids of growing up in a family, which is how I raise my children, is structure and discipline, and go to bed at a certain time, eat your food, then you're getting put to bed with a story, and you're going to sleep in peace. Where mine, they were just arguing.
Did
constantly.
You have to put yourself to bed?
Yeah, or my sister.
Yeah.
So my sister and at that age, but yeah, that's just what it was. So it was just from morning to night, there would be some sort of instability where no child should go through it. Like, I could give you an example, being young, and my mum's brother, God rest his soul as well, he's passed, he'd just turn up from North London to Peckham at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and then I'm waking up, and then the next thing, there's blood everywhere in the house where my dad's lost it. They're fighting this. Do you know what I mean? So to kind of give you a view as a young child growing up from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and things like, say 9, 10, I was I've endured this now, so I'm kind of built for what's to happen. But when you're not aware of it, just imagine a little child seeing this, waking up, blood everywhere, uncle, dad fighting, mum arguing. I'm jumping over my back garden and going to the neighbours. So, because as a child seeing this sort of stuff, it's not normal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where kind of all the frustration, and I suppose the most important thing for me was I didn't have no one to express myself to and understand. Do you know what I mean? Because if you bottle things up, the only thing that happens is explosion, isn't it? And that's always what happened with me, and I was very misunderstood. Yeah.
So your mum's sister and your aunt, what happened with her? Was it an accident, or was it?
No, my auntie had a heroin overdose. Oh, yeah. So this is where, when we'll talk about down the line, where my charity organisation comes into play. So My mum's sister died of was one of her youngest, of a heroin overdose, and then my brother died of fire extinguisher gas, and so it was just that.
How old was your mum's
cycle.
sister at that time?
I think she was about 30,
Jeez.
36 or something.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Young.
My uncle was 42, so they all died pretty young through self-abuse and drugs and things like that. So
What were you like in school?
school I was all right, but it stems from the same thing. Like, I wasn't the best academically. I could read, write, I could understand what was going on, but my headspace wasn't in school. So, and it's nothing to glamorize or glorify, because I don't believe in violence or hurting people. But at that point in my life, I was going to school and just getting into problems, like fighting from a young age, not even wanting to fight, but because of I was never good with confrontation. Like, if I got confronted, I kind of only knew one way how to resolve the situation, which isn't always the best solution to go down.
Can you remember your first fight at school?
I've
got quite a funny story. It was over a pencil case.
What's your first fight at school?
I can't even remember, to be honest with you. Like, it was kind of a regular occurrence in school and thing, and it wasn't just in school, it was a coming out of school and that. So and like I said, because there's another story to my life journey, that I'd never ever want to glorify fighting, and it's not something.
No, it's not.
No disrespect to you answering the question. It's something with fighting. I don't kind of like to glorify it. I've been through it, but there's stages and circumstances that happen later on in life that I wish never happened. Like,
you could reverse.
Yeah. But it was always that, and this is the thing. Like, it's so important for people to understand, families, your peer groups, and not everybody is going through certain situations what makes them behave like that. And if they are going through situations, you need an elder, you need a family member to witness this or observe you and pull you aside and be like, look, boom, don't go down this road, do this. And I never ever really had that. The only thing I had was my group of friends in Peckham, or wherever I went. I always tried to build a family of real people that I felt I could trust, and it was always that. I was always looking for that family bond, but of real people. And as you know, life ain't always as real as it is or seems, and there's a lot of snaky people along the journey.
Definitely.
So it just comes part and parcel of that life of growing up in that struggle.
So when you was a kid, how was the gangs of Peckham structured?
So it's always been kind of how it has been from generations. But growing up in Peckham, like, I'm 36, I knew everybody in Peckham. Do you know what I mean? I was never part of a gang or nothing like that, or was part of any gang activities, but I knew everybody. Like, I'm from Peckham and I know the main people in Peckham. I'm in Wharf Road, I know the main people in Wharf Road. Bermondsey, which is all sectioned off Old Kent Road, it's all in the same Serenity. So my thing was, I'm not part of it, but I know everybody, kind of thing. Yeah. So the gang thing's always been there. Yeah. It's just got a bit, it's the same, but it's a bit more reckless. Like, there's not no order. Do you know what I mean? In the young people, like, I suppose, like, when I was growing up, there was a level of respect for your elders, or, do you know what I mean? Things had to be talked through, or if I got into an issue with you and I know your cousin or your brother, it couldn't happen. Do you know what I mean? It would be resolved as like grown, and do you know what? There's levels to this, but now it's just reckless.
It's chaos.
Yeah, it's just.
What was your first arrest?
So I'll take you through the schooling, primary school, getting in, never really doing any education, always. Do you know what? When I look back in now, I was very vulnerable as a kid, like 7, 8, 9, 10. Like any young child, they should be protected and stuff like that. But I I always felt I was in the wild kind of thing. So that from primary school, football happening, then going into secondary school, I went to a secondary. So my primary school was John Donne, which is based in Peckham, and then I went to St Thomas the Apostle, which is a secondary school, which was Queen's Road, Peckham. Yeah, so it was always good. I love school in the sense of my secondary school. I built up a group of friends.
Were you quite popular?
Yeah. Do you know what? I was all. That's one thing about me. I was always popular in the sense, with the football and with whatever come with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So my name was like always amongst. Oh, he's a good footballer, and I know. Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you're getting at the end of the school, then what are you thinking you're going to do with your life?
I'm in St Thomas the Apostle school now, so I'm in my first year, doing really well. I'm doing really good at football at this point, so I'm in a good position where I'm getting scouted by a lot of professional outfits. So Crystal Palace, QPR, Millwall, and then I signed professional forms with Millwall when I was 11. So
how did that feel at 11 to do that?
Yeah. Do you know what? It was wicked. It was, as I've explained, there's never been much happiness. So this is like a big achievement. And especially like where a lot of people are saying to my dad, your son is going to make it. Like he's one of the next best things to happen.
Wow.
And do you know, 100%, the faith was there for me. And yeah, so secondary school, I'm doing really good with the school team. I'm getting scouted, and same thing like I said, I'm not very good with confrontation. I kind of just deal with it how I know how to deal with it. And I was in year 7, and do you know, like the 5th year in school, the last year?
Yeah.
Do you know what a prefect is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the prefect's like the guy that wears the badge and he gives the kind of orders to the younger people. And I'm in secondary school, and this one prefect, so I'm only 12, 13 at this time, and he's 15, 16, but he keeps telling me, go and take the trays back. So when you finish lunch, the older lot, like years 8, 9, they don't have to take their trays back. So the prefect, they're at the door, and then they send the younger ones to go and pick up other people's trays.
Send them off like minions.
Yeah, exactly, that kind of thing. And it kept on happening. And I accepted it a few times because that's the rules of the school. But you know, when someone's kind of poking you and kind of targeting you in the sense of, you've done it, but I'm going to keep asking you. And then that happened. We got into a little altercation argument, and I ended up after school going home and seeing him on the road, and then ended up getting into a fight with him and broke his jaw. So at the age of 13, I'm being charged with a Section 18 GBH. Wow. So that was to answer your question, that was my first arrest.
Wow.
So yeah.
But you had it coming.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's the one thing, like people that know my character, or people that hearsay, is I always stuck up for people that was more vulnerable. Like if I seen somebody that was stronger, picking on somebody, I always troubled the stronger person. That was kind of always my way. Do you know what I mean? And I just didn't respect the kind of, obviously you have to assert your authority in whatever stage you're in your life or your surroundings, but picking on people and bullying them wasn't my thing. I didn't respect it, and I would always stick up for the ones that get bullied and stuff like that.
What you did was self-defense, really.
Yeah, definitely. But do you know what? Sometimes if a situation's happened in school and you've now taken it onto the outside, so that's what ended up happening. And yeah, it was just I was at Millwall at the time, and they stuck by me, and because I was signed with them, so they come to the courts and was supporting me. So that's the first time that I got arrested. So
you got through that, then you didn't lose your football stuff?
No, I didn't lose my football stuff. But at this time, so I'm born and raised in Peckham, so that's my area. That's where I love. That's home to me. And but at this point, I've got kicked out of school because of this. So
Right. You got expelled.
yeah, expelled, like
okay.
completely, no chances, like straight out.
Oh, wow.
So that was a big impact in me as well, because I built a good foundation of friends there as well. So now I've ended up going to a school in Old Kent Road, which is Woolworth. So I went a couple of weeks in year 9, and then I finished the schooling until year 11, but I had a daughter at 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, it was the best thing that ever happened to me, to be honest with you. Like, it was a big blessing. Like, so going from secondary school, St Thomas, getting kicked out, going to Woolworth,
And then becoming a dad.
I left in first week in year 11. I left the school and become a dad. But yeah, at that point, so I've gone from Peckham to now the school in Old Kent Road, Woolworth. Now I'm going around different areas. So now I'm in Woolworth Road, I'm in Old Kent Road, Bermondsey, and my child's mum, I met her when I was 14. So
how did you meet?
Just in the area. Like, do you know what? To be honest, one of her brother was in my school. So when she come and picked him up one time, I recognised her, and then it just happened from there. So then I spent a lot of time, as well as living in Peckham and always coming back and checking my friends that are in Peckham. I spent a lot of time in Bermondsey. Yeah, so that was a period of my life when my daughter was born. Still playing football. Then I got signed. I left Millwall because nothing ever changed for me from being young to a teenager. It was always still that trauma, that anger, that me against the world kind of feeling. Do you know what I mean? And it kind of continued until I really signed a professional form for Gillingham. So Gillingham offered me a 5-year, a 3-year scholarship with a 1-year extension of a pro contract.
You get paid during this?
Yeah. Used to get paid, but YTS money, so nothing major. Yeah, it was just silly money really at that time. I think it was like about $1,000 a month or something at 15, 16. So
that's not bad when you're 15, 16.
Yeah. It wasn't.
Better than my paper round.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. So I'm now always believing in my talent, because remember, I've got a kid at 15 now. So my dream has always been to break the cycle for my kids, because what I've experienced, I wouldn't wish. There's people that's been through 100 times worse than me. Like, I never had to go through the sexual abuse or the physical violence and things like that. But the psychological trauma and warfare that I was battling wasn't a joke, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody, because the result is later on losing yourself and ending up in places that you don't want to find yourself. Yeah, so it was just a journey from there, Sean, to be honest with you. And yeah.
How were your parents reacting to these major milestones then in your life, like having a kid, getting signed up, and the arrest?
So my dad was always like, where he's Mediterranean and he's a very strong person. Like, he comes from a very respected family background as well. He always used to tell me like how proud he was, and my mum. But at this point, I don't, because my mum's passed away and I was very, very close with my mum, so I don't want to sound like I'm expressing the love for my dad more, because it was different characters. But my dad was very encouraging, always turned up to the football games with me and stuff like that, while my mum was battling her demons and her trauma and stuff like that. So they was very proud. And obviously, like, when I become a dad at 15, my mum's not happy.
Was she not?
No, because I'm a little boy, I suppose, still at that time.
Was she a good grandmother?
Yeah. Very good grandmother. Very loved the kids and loved us. But do you know, sometimes when you're brought up in a household where their childhood, they wasn't shown love, so they don't know how to express it. Like me, because I wasn't shown love, I express it to all my kids like 110%. So some people just don't know how to do it. So the love wasn't shown, but we knew we was loved, if that makes sense. So yeah, they was very, very proud of me. Obviously, when my dad was more disappointed in sometimes how my attitude could be or my behaviour and things like that. But because of what he's going through in the sense of losing a son, trying to keep the household together, he hasn't got, and he's Mediterranean, he's illiterate, he comes from a old school background, he's 84 years of age. So the support wasn't there in the sense of somebody to talk to and be like, well, I'm going through this, I'm feeling like this, and this is why I'm responding like this, or this is why this is happening, and things like that. Yeah,
So having a child at such a young age, then you're going to be really happy, and like you got this family now. But is it a bit stressful as well, the hours and the getting in and up in the night and all that stuff?
Do you know what? I just loved it, to be honest.
Yeah.
My daughter, like, she's 21 now, and I'm a granddad as well. So
Even the nappy changing.
yeah, everything. Do you know what?
No one loves nappy changing.
I just loved it.
Green baby poo.
Even to get up with all my kids, even to this day, I'm just happy to play that dad role, to be honest with you, and give them that love.
Yeah.
So
great.
yeah, it was a blessing in disguise, and I think even though what happened later on with my life and certain circumstances, I believe if I didn't have my daughter at that time and I didn't have the football, it would have been.
She was a bit of a saviour.
Yeah. 1,000,000%. So that was always my pain now, and my trauma, my struggles is now turned into love. Still lost and confused because I'm only 15 and I'm still going through a lot of things, but the main goal was just to show her the love and be a good dad.
What was the next challenge that arose?
So I'm 15 now, so I'm still in the area, still both. Do you know what? It wasn't even just Peckham, Bermondsey. I used to loiter around all areas, and I was just cool with everybody. It wasn't ever like, and it's not even something to be proud about or glorify or nothing. But if you were somebody from there, I would have knew you, or I would have knew somebody of somebody. So it was always, wherever I went, I was blessed. I was always, it was always a friendship kind of thing. So growing up, from 15, I've then left Gillingham. I mean, I left Millwall, and then I signed the 3-year scholarship for Gillingham. So then I'm back and forward from Kent to Peckham, and my attitude was just totally wrong. Like my whole professionalism, my outlook on my career, and instead of staying up in Kent where I should be going to sleep at a certain time, where I should be
Getting your rest.
Yeah. Should be following the protocol of becoming a professional, I still had this kind of me against the world kind of attitude, which it never was. I was just confused and lost and didn't have no guidance. But yeah, so I was doing really, really well at this stage football. So I'm training with the reserve team. I'm playing for the reserve team, training with the first team. And yeah, but prior to that, some important bits that I haven't mentioned. So when I was like 13, where my football career was always making progress, I got scouted by Man United.
Wow.
Yeah, and England schoolboys.
Wow.
And I was doing really good. I was always playing for if you grow up in a certain area like Peckham, Brixton, or these areas, you've got a district. So it always leveled up. So South London district. Then I went to play, the best players from the district plays for Inner London. So then I played for Inner London, and I was just getting scouted from all over the place. So yeah, my football career was going good, but me as a person, I wasn't developing like how I should be, nor somebody that's come from a structured background. Yeah, so I was still playing football, but coming out, going raving,
burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah, kind of like that. So it was, but then it all comes down to the guidance and support, because there's no chance my kids are going to be out on the road when they've got a career and a future ahead of them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's a big thing. What it comes down to. So after that, so we've moved, and I'm at Gillingham now. Career's going good, but my attitude is, can I swear?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Past 5 minutes.
YouTube rule is first 5 minutes we can't swear.
Oh, okay.
Fuck shit bollocks.
Yeah. So my attitude was shit, and you know, everybody's saying to me, even at this point, look, you're gonna make it. You just need to fix up. But when you're a YTS or a scholarship, you have to clean the first team's football boots. Like, you know, the players that are playing in the first team, you have to clean their boots after training, pick up the equipment. Where I was finishing training and everyone's cleaning the boots. I'm like, I've got this attitude. I'm like, what am I cleaning your boots for? You clean your own boots. So it was kind of ignorant, but it was kind of that thing, being told what to do again. And it was like, I'm going to rebel against that. I'm not come here to clean boots. I come to play football. But when you want to become a professional, and this is for any young person out there that are trying to make it, you have to be dedicated. You have to be committed. You have to show professionalism. You've got to understand your craft and leave everything, that whatever's going on in your life, you have to leave it on the side and emerge into becoming this professional and being successful. And with me, with the lack of guidance, it wasn't that. I was just, I was very, very, very lost as a young man.
Good point. I mean, people think success happens overnight, don't they? They don't see you got to sweat blood for years behind the scenes to get anything. Yeah.
So that's that journey from football, and then I've met a girl. We're together, going through that journey, that chapter, and I've got my daughter as well. So everything's going good in that sense, but still my character, in the sense of making this really happen, it was kind of half-hearted. So I'm at Gillingham 17, 18. I'm playing for the reserves, training with the first team, doing really good, and everyone's saying, look, just sort your attitude out, be a bit more committed, like don't turn up to training late and these sort of things, and you're going to get a chance. But in the end, I didn't take it that serious. I didn't take it serious enough to the fact I started losing faith in my ability. And I was very talented, but because of the lifestyle that came with it, I'm not putting in that 100% work ethic, and it's really backfiring on me now.
You can't with a newborn, a young child.
Yeah. No, I broke up with my kid's mum when my daughter was 1. So,
1? Okay.
Yeah, so 16, we parted ways. Yeah.
Did you have much involvement?
Yeah. Always been there for my daughter. She's my best friend, and she's 21. I'm a granddad, and we're
Your granddad?
Yeah. So I got a 1-year-old granddaughter.
How old are you?
36.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm 33, and
Yeah, so I got 4 kids. So I've got 2 girls, 2 boys, and a granddaughter. Yeah. So that was that period through Gillingham, and sorry, I've lost my train of thought. What was
so you've moved in with a new woman.
Yeah.
I assume you're living with this new woman.
No, just teenage stuff.
All right, you're just dating a new woman.
Yeah.
You're still doing the football, but your demons are like getting. Yeah. They're like controlling your behaviour, kind of.
Yeah, and suffering. Do you know what? It's something that happened later on in life. But from young, when I look back at it, I was struggling with my mental health from a very, very young age, and I was suffering in silence. And it's only as I got older, I really understood, and I was going through certain things, and I'm trying to understand, why is this always happening to me? Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like that negative mindset of always feeling, not. Mental health is a very, very difficult thing to explain, because it doesn't come with a colour, it doesn't come with a race, religion, none of these things, and it can happen to absolutely anybody. And now I know, as an adult, going through the mental health system and stuff like that, what I'll speak about, being sectioned, and I was going through this from early, and no one really understood it, and this is why everything around me kind of collapsed.
How did that manifest then, the collapse? What was the first things that happened that went wrong?
Just in the sense of from recognizing it from being young.
A word from our sponsor. Do you want to know what it's like to hang out with the MS-13 in El Salvador? Or how the Russian mafia came to Brooklyn in the 1990s? Or why some Swedish gang members love to throw grenades? If you've enjoyed my stories of hanging out with the New Mexican mafia, cartel members, Italian mafia, you will love the Underworld Podcast. It's a show about organised crime all over the world, from the first gang lords to the current kingpins. Hosts Danny Gould and Sean Williams are investigative journalists who've worked all across the globe covering the most insane crime stories, from interviewing cult gangs in Nigeria to chasing meth barons through the Burmese jungle, and way, way more. Mixing in thorough research and some of the best gangster history in recent memory. They're bringing you a new episode every week. We're talking Taliban, triads, warlords, drug lords and scammers from Brooklyn to Beijing and far beyond. If you want to dive deep into the criminal underworld with two journalists who have reported on it all over, give it a listen. The Underworld Podcast. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. The link will be in the description box below this video. So, as a young person, like, you're starting to slip on your work ethic in the football. But I imagine something's going to happen now. It's going to manifest, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm more like, if you know, you know, but what you think and feel and you put out there will come back to you like a boomerang. So imagine growing up through this events all through my life, the depression, the sadness, the pain, the trauma. That's all I'm thinking about. Or I'm worried when I get home, is my mum going to be okay? And do you know what I mean? Is everything all right in the household? So I was always never been scared of anybody, but I was always scared, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like inside, internally, like I was always on edge, always anxious, always worried about what's going to happen, the next
Waiting
move.
for the next thing to go wrong.
But it was in home. As soon as I came out, this stuff didn't exist no more. But when I was on my approaching home, I was like always nervous, anxious, like who's going to be at the house and things like that.
When you were playing football, did it help you forget about it for a moment?
Yeah, that was my escape route is the football and being around Peckham with my friends playing football in the States, other estates playing other estates. That sports was the escape. So yeah, it was very like it's hard to understand at the time, but as I've grown older and I'm aware of myself, I know myself better, I understand like the effects of what I was going through, the mental health, the depression, the anger, the trauma is what led to life just collapsing. Do you know what I mean? And that's why it's so important for a young person, an adult, anybody, like don't suffer in silence, like speak out, have a voice, and there'll always be someone to listen to you and you can release your expression, your pain. So yeah.
What happened when it started to collapse then?
So my relationship started to deteriorate with my girlfriend at the time, and obviously that's like kind of like the first love, and I was with her for 5 years. So with my character and the way I was feeling, the relationship didn't work. And at this point, I'm playing for Gillingham, doing really well, but I've gone out on a night out and got into a situation with somebody and ended up getting arrested for GBH, like 2 Section 18s. And that was kind of the end of my career, to say so, like permanently from next, which I'll talk about now. So I went on trial for 2 Section 18s.
Are you able to say how that situation arose?
Yeah, well, same thing, fighting, but it was never in the sense of, because I've never been one of these people to go out looking for fights. If it happens, then it happens. But unfortunately, at this point, I'm out, went out raving, and then ended up getting into an altercation with someone, and then just had a fight, the guy ended up breaking his jaw. Or he got a broken jaw, and I got 3 years in jail. Yeah, so I went to Crown Court, and the judge gave me 5 years, and he said because it was two Section 18s, but I got not guilty for one, and I got guilty for my one, and it was just after that I got put in prison. The judge minimised it from 5 years to 3 years, and I went to prison. So my career now, Gillingham, they've released me, and it's just going downhill.
Which prison were you in?
So I first went to Highdown, and then on the 3 year sentence, and then I got shipped to Norwich, and then which was YOY, and then I went to an open prison towards the end.
Was it because of your age and what you've been through that you reduced it?
Yeah. So I was 20 at the time, and then as soon as I turned to 21, they put you to adult jail.
Yeah.
But that I suppose, as well as things still going wrong down the line, that kind of was the start of my transformation into learning, studying myself, and getting the qualifications to be aware of circumstances and to avoid them. So whilst in prison, playing football, and remember I'm a professional footballer at this time, still in prison. Even though I've been released, I've still got that status. So when I come out, I'm like, do you know what? I'm gonna get straight back into football. That was the goal. But whilst playing football in there, they didn't give us the correct football boots and just give us trainers, and it was raining. And I went in to do a turn while I was playing a match, and I slipped and smashed my knee into a ledge, which I got a big scar all across there. And they took me to outside hospital, and they said I would never play football again.
Wow. So
that was my career over. Like I was like an inch away from my leg being amputated. So that was another big struggle whilst in prison. So I was on a cast and crutches for 6 months whilst locked up. So it was a bit that weren't easy. Do you know what I mean? Just getting through the sentence, being on a crutch. And
do you have to be in like a medical prison for that, or are you in a regular prison?
No, regular prison. Yeah, I was in a normal prison.
So what, they just strap you up and put you back out there?
Yeah. Well, they when they had to do the op and everything, like I was cuffed to the bed, and then there was in a medical hospital, but they brought me back to Norwich prison, and it was just another inmate. So that's how it really went. And that journey was all right. Like I started learning. I done an ETS course, which is an enhanced thinking skills course. I've done an alcohol awareness course. I've done a drug awareness. I've done called psychometry, which is a victim awareness course. I've done a lot of things to develop myself as a person, because I didn't want to keep living this unstable lifestyle. And the goal was never to be here. The goal was to make it. So yeah.
Good on you.
But prison. That 3 year sentence was a good learning curve. I learned, obviously, first time in prison as well. So it's the unknown. You don't know what to expect. But never had any issues in prison. Seen what was going on. Like I could give you an example for the YOs. Like there was not mentioning no names, but there was a inmate in there on the same landing, and this is for the young people as well. Never ever think that you're too bad, because you will come across someone that's bigger and badder and will put you to the test. So when I'm in there, we got to go down like the stairs in Norwich. It's like a kind of a school kind of setup, and then you're coming up with your lunch, and this other inmate's always taking another inmate's food, or taking his chicken, taking his vegetables. So I was like, this is crazy. Or beating, do you know what I mean? A lot of bullying and that, which I always used to kind of, like I said from the beginning, I'd always like to stick up for people that could bully. So I'd always give the guy my food, or if I had extra canteen, I'd give it to him and that. But that's really what it is sometimes.
Aren't most of the fights about food in prison?
Drug debts.
So that was that. Then I went to an open jail, which was good. and I was working with disadvantaged young people with disabilities. And yeah, so
the guy taking the food, did he get smashed?
No, he never. Do you know what? To be honest with you, he was my friend as well.
Oh.
That was the worst. That was the worst thing. But sometimes it's survival of the fittest in there, innit? And or if you got gym in the morning, you think, no, I want an extra bit of chicken. Or it was, when you look at it now, it's mad, but it is what it is, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
it's survival, innit? And some people have certain strategic ways to get through, innit? And it is what it is. But I was always one of the people that would like to stick up for my friends. Or
were the guards all right with you, or were they dicks?
Do you know what? Majority of them were dickheads, but a lot of them that not even a lot of them. Say like the PE, the sports or something like that was cool. There's good and bad in everybody, innit? So you can't tarnish everybody with the same brush, but I'm not really respecting anybody that's locking me up, so I wasn't really too fond of them. Yeah. Got into a couple of things with a couple of screws. Well, that was in my last prison, but the last sentence. But
what was it like getting released then from that first one?
Yeah, it was a big thing, but a sad thing as well, because remember, I've only been playing football. That's all I know. I'm not academically strong. I've not got no qualifications, and football was the dream and the goal. So now when I'm getting released, I'm coming out to nothing now. Like, I don't know. I've never worked. I've always played football. So now I have to change my character and get into this normal walk of life, because I thought I was going to make it and be successful, and football was what was going to happen. So coming out, as much as it was a great feeling, obviously I split up with my girlfriend at the time while I'm in prison. She's broke up with me. So I just come back out, and yeah, it was good. I had support like from like Nick's from Is What Is TV. He used to come visit me in jail and make sure he supported me and made sure my family got up to see me and things like that. So I had the support system and friendships to come out to, but came out very confused and lost.
Did they have like vending machines with snacks in the visitation room?
Yeah. No, do you know? No, it wasn't even like that.
You don't know how important this is? We lived for visits. Visits are like and then the snack machine. When you're out eating fucking dog food all day,
that's the
Snickers or something is like gold.
Yeah, you're trying to eat as much as you want. You can get on the visit.
I went to an open prison once, and they had like a counter for snacks and stuff. So I gave the guys visiting 20 quid.
It was where I was. It was a counter. Yeah. Or that's on the visits, but in jail obviously they send the bag to your cell. Yeah. So coming out of jail was I need to find myself now. Like I'm gonna have to get into work. I've never worked before.
So what, you're about 22, 23 by now?
Yeah. I'm 20. I come out. I got 3 years. So I done 15 months, and then I came out on 3-month tag. So yeah, I'm now trying to find work and get into work, and I'm working. And same thing. It's always with me and I've learnt to change my ways, but it's with authority and dictatorship and pointing the finger. I didn't really know how to react or respond to it, where, you know, some people, if you say, walk over there and pick up that, and they might be just saying there's no please, thank you or nothing. Like, the working thing never really worked out for me. And I came out to jail and I was very like, how am I going to do this? So then that's where I ended up starting to get involved in the road life and selling drugs, and so it kind of went down that road at that point. What
was the actual job you were doing that you didn't like?
So it was just labouring. Yeah, like my friend's dad had a construction company, and he was like, I can give you some work and stuff like that. I tried it. Like, trust me, Sean, Jenny, I tried the working thing, and I recommend the working thing for everybody. It's one of the most important things that you can do, is work and provide for your family. But at this point in my life, I'm not capable to do it. So I ended up going down a different avenue, building lines, and it was a big transformation from expecting to be a footballer, going to jail. Now I'm on the roads. And as much as I've always been on the roads and I've always been connected with people that's on the roads from different areas, I've never been involved. I've just known people. Do you know what I mean? I've never gone, I didn't have no reason to, but now I have a reason to, because I'm trying to work, keep getting fired. I need to get money for my kids and for my daughter at this time, and just to survive. So obviously I don't recommend it, not one bit, but I had to make that decision to survive, and ended up going on the roads and selling drugs and things like that. So
was it weed and coke?
Yeah, so I've shotted hard food like light and B, then had a weed and coke line and things like that. So
what challenges arose in that lifestyle for you?
Do you know what? It's many different things, and this is something that people should be aware of. And it doesn't matter what age group you are. This life, and I'm not knocking anybody. If this is the life that you're involved in and this is what you're about, then fair play. But on a positive note of it, this life isn't. There's always drama. There's always trouble. There's always situations like, for instance, I'll give you an example. You could be making money and you could be trying to build a network of people, but you don't know how this is going to run. And at some point, he might snake you, or he might not pay you, or trying to avoid you. So there's a little couple of circumstances where I'm giving someone food, which is, it was only an ounce of coke, but I'm giving it to him because he's broke and he needs to get money. And then in the end, he's taking my kindness for a weakness.
Done the drugs?
No, he's moving it, but he's in debt with other people. So he's using the food to pay other people. So then when I'm phoning him saying, "Oh, where's the money?" He's like, yeah. Phone me back, boom, boom. And then that's going on for days and days. And then I'm partnered up with my friend where I'm getting the food off. So obviously I have to pay him. So I'm on to my friend now. I've been friends for years. Wasn't my boy like that, but we knew each other for years. And then he started getting a bit cheeky with my friend, and he said something to him, and I said, "Look, need to get them." And we just turned up to his house, kicked off his door, found him under his bed, and this is for £1,000 an ounce at this time is what it costs. So it's not worth it, risking your freedom, your liberty. You're creating beef with other people. In this is what comes with this lifestyle. Or for instance, I had an issue with, this is something I was saying, I didn't really want to, because I'm not glamorizing it, because it's nothing that I'm proud of, but it is part of the story which I need to express as well. But just for the viewers and for people to know, I'm not glamorizing this, not one little bit. But we got into a situation with somebody that there was a little problem with, and then the next minute, when you're involved in this life, me and my friend, we're on the road with the strap, looking for this person. So I'm like, I'm on it, but really deep down, I'm like, I'm not even trying to catch no bodies. I'm not really, do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. I'm a good-hearted person. I'm not trying to go down that road. But if there's an issue and you're involved in this lifestyle, you either deal with it or get dealt with. And that's ended up kind of, nothing come of that rolling with a strap, but it was kind of, that's what comes with it. You end up looking for people and you're putting yourself at risk for minimum 10 years or 5 years with the gun. And it just doesn't make any sense. So a lot of problems come with that life. And it's not like I was making at this time making stupid money, like a couple of grand here, hundreds here, grands there, and it wasn't really consistent. So unless you're big time, you're not really gonna succeed in this life unless you've got everything patterned out, you've got a structure and all that really. And this ain't for everyone, because some people cut through and make it happen, but you ain't going to cut through without some sort of form of drama coming with it, whether it's someone trying to rob you or the police or getting into problems, losing friendships. It just doesn't make sense. So that carried on though, Sean, for a while, in and out.
So young people watching this, don't get gangsteritis. People have said on this channel, setting up dealing weed at my parents' house. Next thing, they're in debt to the Albanians, and then it goes down. Someone's eyeball gets taken out. Anything can happen. So that's a very important social message. Appreciate
it is.
you
No, it is.
emphasising that.
It's very important. So I'm in and out at this time. I've always been conscious. I've always been like I've said it a few times now, but it's the facts. I've got a good heart, and I'm not trying to really deter or hurt people and affect their families. So I would always stop doing what I'm doing and try to get back into work. So I'm a qualified sports coach. When I've come out of jail, I've done a CSLA course, level 2, where I can coach all sports. So I started getting back into football, and I started to run, which is my passion, like training disadvantaged young people that's come from similar upbringings to my own. And I was running sports coaches, going really well, and things are going positive for a year or so. And then that stopped happening. Then I started doing football again. I become an under-18s coach, training young people. Same thing, disadvantaged background, from gangs to struggles at home, and just everyone coming for the sports. But then something happened that workplace, I've left. I've ended up getting back into the roads again. And
what happened?
I got into one of the staff members was like being very rude and aggressive to one of the young people, and I ended up sticking up for the young person. Same story, it's the same thing all over, and then got into an issue with him, and then my contract got terminated. So
right.
So then now, because sports all I know, I'm back into the roads. But before this, I've just won an award for London Sports Coach of the Year.
Wow.
Yeah. And something that I missed out when I came out of jail, because I've not even gone on to that bit, but yeah. So I started winning awards and things like that. So when I've come out of, just to take it back just a little bit, and when I've come out of jail, like I said, tried to do the working thing, was doing it, getting fired, finding more jobs. But then I ended up going out one evening and was with a friend and his friend, and sadly got into an altercation, and I hit the guy, self-defense, and he dropped and died.
Jesus.
Yeah, so this is another event. I've only been out of jail 6 months.
It's a big
now.
event.
Yeah, very big event. And
when you say self-defense, are you able to describe the situation that come about, or?
It's something I don't really want to go in.
Okay, no worries.
I don't want to dwell into, but it was just one punch, and I tried to help the person, but unfortunately was.
Did he hit the ground quite hard then?
Yeah. So on that note, it's like I'm truly remorseful, and I'm truly sorry that a family member had to lose a loved one, and regardless if it was self-defense, it still happened. And it's just a message, if anybody was to see this that knows somebody, like, I'm truly sorry from the bottom of my heart, and if I could change and turn the script around and make this never happen, then I would. Unfortunately I can't, but I'm truly sorry, because no one, like, if you done me something, Sean, and I come to do you something, that's a different story. But when you don't mean to do something to somebody and something happens, I've got a conscience. I'm not expecting for somebody to lose their life.
No.
And it's something I've had to live, and I live with every day. And it's just, I'm just really sorry that
I can truly see how remorseful you are. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really speak about it. It's something that I don't really talk, not even with my friends. It's something I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, but it's something where I'm extremely sad about, and I just wish that I could have. I can't make things right, but I wish I could.
Did you know right away what had happened, or was it in the hospital?
Yeah, so I kind of knew straight away. Yeah.
So did you get arrested then right there?
Yeah, so I got arrested and went to Belmarsh. So they put me in a high security prison, and I had to wait trial. So I've gone on to trial, and after a year in Belmarsh, 10, 11 months, I've ended up getting acquitted. So I've done the trial for a week, and I was telling my story, there's events that happened, and thankfully there was a witness that was watching and came forward and stuff like that. But
thankfully.
What were you charged with that you got acquitted from?
yeah, so I got charged with murder. And then first I was charged with murder.
Right.
And then whilst in there and the more the evidence came forward, they dropped it to manslaughter.
Okay.
So I had to go in the Old Bailey. I was on trial at the Old Bailey in 2007 for a manslaughter, which got acquitted through self-defence.
Mm.
How many days did the trial last, and did you have to speak on the stand for yourself?
Yeah. So I think the trial lasted about a week and a half maybe.
Must be shitting yourself facing like a big sentence like that a little bit.
Yeah, because mind you, I've just come out for a Section 18. So, and I've got a Section 18 previously. So when you get 3 strikes, it's a straight life or IPP sentence.
Aggravation, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking, my solicitor's saying to me, I'm looking at like 15 years. So, I'm kind of just can't believe this has happened, but absorbing what's going on and just have to accept it and hope and pray for the best outcome and the truth to be revealed. So, yeah.
What's it like going through a trial?
It's quite intimidating, to be honest with you. If you've never been, or especially the Old Bailey, like the Old Bailey is not a joke. That's some real old school dungeons. Like it's, yeah, it is. And it's not a nice feeling, but you just have to go through the process.
Could you describe it a bit, what you're seeing when you go into the court, the Old Bailey?
To be honest,
the judge got his wig on and all that stuff.
Yeah, the wig. Then you got the jury, you got the box. Yeah, so it's a serious place. It's not
intense.
Yeah, it's very, very intense, and it's not a place for anyone to be.
Have you seen the Old Bailey building? Have you been in there?
No, a few of the podcast guests have, but I think we had one escape from there, didn't was it Joey Barnett? Jumped out, run out of her or something?
Yami as well.
Was it Yami escaped from somewhere? Blink. No, I think it was Joey Barnett, wasn't it? And a taxi driver run him over.
What?
Yeah.
So he escaped and he got hit
and
by a taxi?
they're running after him down the street, and the guards get in a taxi, and they have the taxi driver run him over. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so if people want to watch that, Joey Barnett, it's on the True Crime playlist. I think we've done about 2 or 3 with Joey now. All right, so when you spoke on your own behalf on the stand, how did that feel? Was it like a lot of pressure?
Yeah, no, it was terrifying. It was it's your life in your hands now, isn't it? So
totally.
If
if I F up on the stand,
yeah.
It's gonna go this way.
My thing was, this is how I am in life in general. Like, if you be yourself, you be honest and truthful, you ain't got much to worry about apart from people seeing that you're being honest and genuine. So, yeah, it was just one of those things. I was happy to be released, but not happy, if that makes sense. It was a strange one.
You're in shock. What did the jury look like? Were they like studying you and everything?
Yeah, it was proper intense. It was like you don't know what's going to happen or what they're taking in and things like that. But one thing I did do is I spoke up for myself. Like I spoke to the prosecution. I didn't just leave it to my barrister. I told him, like, go to this point on this page, and I proper was fighting for my life. So
what was your barrister like?
Yeah, he was
good?
proper. Yeah, proper,
right.
proper barrister. And it's one of them things. You're in this situation, but like anything, you got to fight for your life now, innit? So yeah, it was
You become focused, don't you?
yeah, proper.
Yeah.
Like even like in the cells, like just studying, yeah, and just trying to see the light. But like I said, even though I got released, it wasn't like, oh yes, I've jumped for joy, I've bust case, I'm happy. I never ever left there, and as mad as it is, and a lot of people did say to me like, you should be happy, but because somebody's lost a loved one and a family member, somebody's life's been taken, unfortunately this happened. But that's how I left the prison system. I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm free, but still not going to change things.
Where were you when you found out you were acquitted?
Where was I?
Yeah.
In the dock.
So they tell you right away?
Yeah. So they do. They go away for their summary, then they call you back up, put you in the dock, and then it's guilty or not guilty.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did that feel then, just to hear that?
Like I said, it's
bittersweet.
It's bittersweet. It definitely is bittersweet, but it's one of them things where I've got two options: be an arsehole and be like, yeah, I've bust case and I'm free.
Because was his family there of the guy? Yeah.
So then you're forgetting that somebody's family's been ruined, someone's life's been taken. So in my eyes, there wasn't no celebration, and there never will be.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What did you do when you got out then? What did you have a plan, or did you go back to the lifestyle?
Yeah, so when I've come out of Belmarsh, I've started doing the working thing again. Like tried to just stay on the straight and narrow. And this is where what I was speaking about, the awards come into play. So now I've got my qualifications from being in jail, the alcohol awareness, drug awareness, sick and mortuary, all these different qualifications. My mission is what it always has been, is to try and make a difference in young people's lives. So I said, let me get back into the sports, and I started doing motivational talks in youth clubs, and there was a youth club in Peckham that was linked to the Damilola Taylor Centre called Eternal Life Support Centre, and they had a studio, and I was going to do the sports. There was doing other like creative things for the young people in the area to deter them away from crime and stuff like that. So I was doing that, and I was doing speeches and telling my story, and that was going really well. And I won an award with them across all the boroughs called Inspirational Young Person Unseen Unsung Heroes Award. So I won that, and yeah, I was really on the positive path, doing really well. And like I explained with the under 18s I was managing, then that happened. I was doing this for a few years after coming out of jail, and then now I've lost my job. I'm just back to square one, because now I'm not looking for a job, and I'm thinking, F the world, like, I'm trying so hard to stay on the straight and narrow and keep faced with these obstacles. And yeah, so then back on the road shotting, and yeah, it's just went a bit pear-shaped for a little while, in and out. But it's always been in and out. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't anything that I've inspired to be some drug dealer or want to be some big kingpin or want to just make it from this world. My goal was to make it from doing righteous things.
So were you taking any of the drugs?
No. Well, weed, I've smoked weed, but any other drugs I've never took. Yes. My brother died from sniffing gas, so my dad always embedded in us like no drugs like whatsoever from a very young age. So that was that point of doing really well, and then it collapsing again. So so back on the road again, and I'm just building lines, just trying to survive and just get through life at this point again, as well as my mum still battling with her addictions, which gladly she become alcohol free and things like that. So yeah, it was
How old are you at this point?
So at this point I'm around 20, 24, 25. Yeah, so once I've come out of jail, I'm just on the straight and narrow for a couple of years, and then back onto that.
What triggers the next collapse?
Like I said, I'm always trying to do the right thing, but I'm faced with obstacles, which many of us are. But at this point, I'm grown, but I'm immature, if that makes sense. I'm in my mid-20s now, but I've still not found myself or my purpose.
I don't think you grow up to in 30s, I
Yeah.
Still haven't grown
No.
up.
Yeah,
You,
so,
you haven't.
so yeah, that was that period of coming out of jail and doing good, and obviously that case happened. So it's now this is where the mental health kicks in. So where this has taken place in my life, and I've not just, it's happened and then I'm like, all right, cool, it is what it is. It's not, these things happen. I'm living with this now on a day-to-day basis, and always feeling down and feeling sad about the person's family, and do you know what I mean? So I was never staying focused on my own well-being. I was always just slowly deteriorating in the emotions of it and getting trapped in the psychological warfare of but if and what if, and do you know what I mean?
Did you ever think about seeking help at any point?
Do you know what? I've always been told like to seek help, but I've never ever sought any like therapy or anything like that through anything I've had to go through. So it's always been kind of me trying to work it out and battle it, kind of thing like that. So yeah, that happened, and then in 2009, it was kind of like a breakdown, but if you understand the science behind it, in the sense of this spiritual warfare, my sister's going through something, now I'm going through something, but this is kind of like without to speak out of context or people to be like, oh, that's a bit mental. It was a spiritual attack, innit, in my opinion. And yeah, I was going through this. My sister ended up going through something about my brother, and then she's gone mad. Like, she's just lost the plot. I'm losing the plot at her. Like, what are you talking about? She's saying, yeah, but my brother's alive, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, losing it on her. And this is why this thing is real, and this is why it's so important. Mind who you cross your energy with, and mind who you spend your time with and your surroundings, because she's going through what she's going through. And she said to me, please just give me a hug. Yeah. So to try and calm her down, she's my big sister, I love her. I've given her a hug. So then we're hugging, and then she's like, just breathe with me. So I'm breathing, we're holding on to each other tight, and bang, I'm mad now. So 1 minute I'm normal.
You're triggering each other then?
No, it just transferred.
It's a thing. And Dr. Das, we had Dr. Das on, and he described the mechanism. I can't remember it exactly, but there's also a program called Madness in the Fast Lane where those two sisters, they're feeding off each other and they just run into traffic. Have you seen it?
No.
And
So they're just
they're
pushing energy between each other.
Well, yeah. Do you know what? I don't really like to talk about this too much because there's so little understanding to it.
Oh, definitely.
And I don't want to come across like I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm talking nonsense.
Yeah,
but
talk to Dr. Das. It's like, there's a word for it. I can't remember what it is.
Oh,
There's Puff of Madness, and there's another one where the two people feed off each other.
Week.
He's coming in a couple of weeks or so. Yeah.
Yeah, so this has happened at this
So you've
point.
got that energy then.
Yeah,
at this point, yeah.
No sleeping for days. Like, I've got money as well, like a few grands here and there and that. So we're so far gone, and I'm on this. I want to be nice and kind, so I started withdrawing money out of the bank, giving money to everyone, like 50s, 20s. Like, this was going on for days, and my sister was like, "Believe me, trust me, we're gonna be anyway." That's another story, but yeah, it just went pear-shaped from there. Then we was on the road for days, and the police ended up getting called because I ended up doing a nutty one in a cafe. Like, I'm acting strange, isn't it? So obviously people are going to be staring at me, innit? And I've just spazzed out in the cafe, and then they called.
Just started shouting.
Yeah,
Wow.
Lost it in there. So the police got called, and me and my sister got sectioned straight away, like straight to the hospital.
What's that like then? Did they put you on meds right away and stuff?
yeah, so obviously I don't know what's going on at this point, and I'm still. And you know what? This is something that I want to talk about for the viewers. Yeah, if you can see somebody or know somebody that's going through a mental breakdown or an awakening or a spiritual warfare attack, no matter what it may be, don't ever judge that person. Don't ever tell them that they're crazy or they're mad or they've made this up, because you don't know what the person actually experienced and felt. And it might seem crazy to somebody that's never been through this, but this stuff is real, and I'm living proof of this. Like, it's not a joke, and it's a very, very real thing. Yeah, so once I'm gone in the police station, and you know what, something I've never spoke about, and I'll quickly mention it here, at this high level frequency or spiritual warfare or awakening, or whatever terms you want to put it in, and I'll only say this once, and it is what it is, it's my truth. At that point in time, me and my sister are actually communicating with each other without communicating. She's in the car, police car, and I'm, so so we're kind of on a powerful thing, or power vibe is
reading each other's minds.
Yeah, like in the sense of, like, I would say something outside the car, and then I said, go tell my sister to repeat what I said. And she could hear me. And then she would repeat exact same. They said, yeah, boom.
It's more common amongst siblings. That's why the documentary I watched, it was two sisters.
Yeah.
So ended up getting sectioned, taken to the Maudsley, South London Maudsley, which is a well-known psychiatric hospital. And they've put me in a room. So remember, I'm lost and confused. I think I'm Superman. I've got this extreme amount of energy and power within me that I'm thinking I'm that guy in it. Like, no one's messing with me. It doesn't matter if you've took me. So I'm in the hospital room behind a glass window, and I'm on this level of this hyperactive energy, and I'm saying, come in, like, all of you, come, like, I'm ready, innit? So I'm thinking, what's going on? Like, no one's coming in. So I'm just acting how I'm acting, then bang, you just hear boom, boom, boom. They've just come with the shields, all the body kit. It's like I've seen it in prison, innit? When they come for you, called Men in Black. So when they turn up. They're not coming to talk. So I'm thinking, all right, cool. They've come in, and I've just run to attack them. They just got me, put me on the floor, and injected me.
Wow.
3 times, yeah. In the bum.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was another traumatic, and I say it like that because those that know or has been through that, it's not a nice experience getting held down and your trousers pulled down and injected. Like, it's a serious thing. It's not a joke. So the next thing, I found myself on the ward. Yeah, so
you woke up on the ward?
Yeah, woke up on the ward. Yeah.
What went through your mind?
See, I'm still in a higher level state of mind, so I'm still flipping out in there. And there's some real nutters in there. That's what made, not nutters, misunderstood people. That's what made me wake up and be like, do you know what? I'm not even like these lot. These lot have fully got some serious struggles going on, and mine's a lot different to them. Like, for example, I'm just talking about my brother and just talking about more righteous spiritual stuff, where these ones are talking about, yeah, I've just robbed the Queen and I just robbed David Beckham. And it was just, it was nuts. I was like, I need to get out of here. And like, another example, say for instance, even to this day, I've never ever been on medication. Like, apart from being in the hospital, like, I refuse to take it, and I prefer to study and learn more about myself and my human behaviour and things like that, and psychologically try to better myself. So I've never been on medication. But in there, where I kind of had that aggression in the sense of I was just angry in there, you have to take your medication. So anybody that knows about the system, you have to go to the hatch, and then they give you your tablets every day or 2 times a day. And it was happening to me, and I was like, do you know what? I don't want to be doped up, and I know people that's been juiced up and they've come out and they've never been the same. So my thing was, do you know what? How am I gonna? I'm always like that from life. I'm always trying to think a step ahead, or how I can put myself in a better position from the opposition, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm going up to the hatch and I'm like being more aggressive, like give me it, and I'm putting it in my mouth. So they have to search your mouth and things like that. But a couple of times I was so like, sorry.
Have you ever hid it?
Yeah. So I'm so angry and on this high level of energy. I'm going up there and I'm like, give me the medication. I'm putting it, and they just want rid of me at the hatch. They don't want no more. Just take the medication and go. So one time I took it out my mouth, and there was a guy from Peckham, a white guy who was in there for like alcohol issues or whatever. He was on them. He loved them, innit? He was just popping them, like trying to get everyone's on the ward. So I gave it to him and I sat in his cell with him, and I said to myself, like, what are they really trying to do to me with this med? And he took it. 5-10 minutes later, he was looking out the window it's because it's like a cell, isn't it? And he's like, Daniel, come here. I said, what's up? He's like, look in that skip. Can you see the horse? So I said, this guy's lost the plot. I've come over, I've seen, look, there's no horse. Go and sit down. And he's like, nah, like proper. So obviously the meds that they were giving you was doing some next sort of shit to you that was taking you to see stuff that wasn't even there. And then I said, come away. He sat down, and then within 5 minutes, he was knocked out completely. So from that day forward, I never ever took the medication in the hospital, and I got released from the hospital with not being medicated. So it was a scary situation. But I think anything in life that anybody goes through, you have to be able to adapt to it, and you can't let nothing defeat your purpose, your being in existence. You always have to find a strategy, a way, a plan to defeat whatever you're going through to come out on top. So that was always my mindset, like I need to get out of here. I've got my kids and things like that. So that was another experience that played a big part in my kind of mental health never being the same from that.
To get out, do you have to like, are they watching your behaviour and then they decide on your behaviour? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so you're on a ward together, and there's, I don't know, 15, 20 people, different people, and then you go for reviews. So I went for a review, and I ended up coming out after 3 weeks. Yeah, so after 3 weeks being in there, I ended up getting released. But I was released unwell, and it was the fact that I was very unwell, and Nick's was always, he's my like childhood friend, and he's my brother, and he's always been there with me, and he's experienced like the things that, so I'm going, not to mention any names, but I'm going around some serious people, like, do you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, we've gone there, and obviously I'm still in this high level state of mind, and I'm like saying to him, Nix, get the strap, call my man, call this one, get the guns. I was going mad. So I got released being severely unwell, and it was only a couple of elders from my area, or people that grew me, was like, look, Daniel, and took care of me and tried to make me see sense of things. And yeah, but I was very, very unstable even coming out.
How was your sister at that point when you came out?
So we're both sectioned at this time. So I've got put into Maudsley, and she got put into Lambeth Hospital, which is in Brixton. And she got sectioned for like an extra 3 weeks. Yeah, so like I said, I've come out being unwell. The day I came out, I went straight to Brixton and was trying to get her out. So the police, yeah, it was all mad. So
the police came.
Yeah, so she was struggling. But it all stems down from the childhood, the death of my brother, and the impact that it had on our lives. So, yeah, that was that scenario, and came out. And what happened after Maudsley? Yeah, just straight back on the roads again. Yeah. And the saddest thing is it's not something that I wanted to do. It just felt like I had no other choice, because I didn't know anything, or I couldn't do any other things that I was good at, and the stuff I was good at, it always fell apart. So back on the roads again and just picking up food and building lines and just living that kind of reckless lifestyle.
What was the next drama that happened or major incident in the lifestyle?
So that's 2009, and then I've won the awards because I kind of told a bit of the story ahead of the time. So we'll just go back. So then I've started winning the awards and doing good things, and that was that. And then I started to trying to find a girlfriend and build a family. So I'm meeting people, and then a few years later, I've had a child. So my son Jack, who's now 8 years of age. So that all slowed down.
Jack into football?
Yeah, Jack's into football. Yeah, he loves it. Yeah. So, he's he was a big turning point in my life as well, because, like I said, I love my kids and I live for my kids, and the most important thing about being a parent is being there for them. And I didn't want to go down that same road and routine that I've been going through and doing. Like, it's not really me, to be honest with you. It's just sometimes you have to do what you have to do. And so I've got a girlfriend now and my son, and then I'm just living that family life. That relationship ends up breaking down after a few years. I have another child with her as well, so I've got 2 kids with her, and then she's moved to Sheffield, so where she's originally from, and then I've moved up there. It's not really working out. Then I'm back in London. So then going through that stage. So we're in 2000 and let's just move to like 2013. So it's just been the same process
Same cycle.
Yeah. So then I got my son, and then that's not worked out. But at this point, I'm no longer, after being on the roads, whatever money I accumulated, I now invested into clothing. So I set up an online store, because this life isn't this shot in life, and I told you in the beginning, like, what it comes with, it's not worth it. So
it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. And if you can sustain it, there's very few that make it out, and without any. And even if you make it out, there will be problems along with it. So it's not something I ever wanted to be involved with long term. So I started to build an online store, which I still have to this day. And
what's it called?
Smoking Hot Trends.
Really?
Yeah.
I own organiccottonclothing.co.uk.
Oh, okay. Oh,
so
wicked.
Organic.
Yeah. Have you heard of Depop?
Yes, Depop. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got 2 stores on there.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. So where I sell designer clothing, vintage, retro, like all different pieces of men's and women's clothing. So that was my next avenue. I've got my kids now. I don't want to be part of that life. I want to stay free, have no dramas. So that's going well. Ended up breaking up with her, coming back to Peckham, and I ended up getting a shop on Rye Lane, where I was then now selling clothes. But at this point, I'm slightly getting back in the mix of things. Like, I don't know, sometimes you're just in and out, or you're just trying to achieve some goals that possibly ain't even reachable, but you're trying. So that was that at that point. And just trying to always be positive at this point, and trying to be successful, and having a vision to become something or somebody. Do you know what I mean? So that was the goal.
So was your mental health calming down at that point?
Do you know that the mental health has been ongoing for years? Like, the hardship I've always had to. That's why my charity organisation is called Back on Your Feet, because I was always getting knocked down, and I'm like, I need to get back on my feet. So that's where it's always been the same, and it got better at a point. But remember, I've still got no understanding of what I've gone through. So those that don't have no understanding of mental health or what makes these things happen, you can be lost forever. But I've just slowly tried to gather as enough information as I can. I had the right friends and people around me. like I mentioned, Nick's, and he's like a big brother that was looking after me from a young child. Super, who's got a rap group called WBD, and Uni from Unit 10, which is they're the pioneers, the founders of the UK rap, where everyone was going to, like, all the different gang members or from a certain area going to make their music there. And that's my people from child and my brother's best friend and things like that. So they always took care of me and tried to give me words of advice, and that's how I kind of was getting over the mental health, but always there, always in the process of, like, one wrong move, I could kind of lose all sense of direction and just lose it. But that was never the goal, and always trying to sustain myself.
So after 2013 then, was there any more police trouble?
So 2013, I've never had any other issues since 2005, which I got found guilty for. I've never been in trouble with the police, apart from, sadly, that guy passing, and I'm so sorry about this, and I wish it was never at my hands. But especially because of that, I learned an even more valuable lesson, and it taught me so much eye-opener things that, you know what, if you move like this is going to happen, or if you hang with this person, that's going to happen. So I've always deterred myself away from crime, and not so much the road stuff, but the violent stuff, or not even violent stuff, because that's not really what it was. The frustration and confusion. Yeah, so there wasn't no police stuff after that. It was more just trying to be positive and trying to just make some money or do the right thing at some point.
What led to you starting your charity?
So the charity side of things comes from something that I've always been passionate about. Like, I've from a young person, I've always gave to people that's less fortunate. Even though I'm coming from poverty, I'm coming from a broken home. If I see a homeless person on the street, especially, like, there was always a certain group outside the Peckham McDonald's. So even being, like, young, 10, 11s, 12s, I would always go and buy them burgers and chips. So it was always in me. But and this happened all through my life. I was always a giver, especially to vulnerable people. That was something that I always liked, to empower people that's in a less fortunate position. And I used to do the same with my daughter, and make her give the money or the food to the people. And it's always been that process. And then my remember, because the Back on Your Feet charity isn't just for homeless people, it's for anybody that's vulnerable, anybody that's dealing with mental health, trauma, addictions and stuff like that. Because, like I said in the beginning, my auntie Doreen passed away with a heroin overdose. Then I had uncles, aunties that have my dad's brother committed suicide through cocaine. Then I've got my other uncle who later passed through speed, and so it was always deaths in the family, which
all drug related, aren't they?
All drug related. And it's something I said to myself, do you know what, I want to help make a difference in these people's lives. And my cousin died in 2007. He was only 27 years of age, and he died of homelessness and drug addiction and alcohol abuse. So and mental health. So and he was one of my closest cousins as well. And because of certain circumstances, I wasn't in the country. I couldn't go to his funeral. So that was something I said to myself, do you know what? At some point in my life, I'm definitely, for the sake of their existence, and, you know, like, if they had somebody that they could have spoke to, or they could have turned to somebody in the time of need, they might still be here today. Or if they had that support system, they might have made the better choice or decision to pull themselves out of the hole. So that's how this really come about. But it was lockdown that I started it. So in lockdown I started on the 15th of October last year. And before that, before the charity, in 2020, so there's a bit of a, because you know what, let me tell you a different side of the story or the structure. So as I'm turning my life around, I'm trying to do positive things. My daughters ended up coming to live with me when she was 16. So she was living with me for a year, and my dad had Alzheimer's from 2008. So my sister was his full-time carer for 10 years. So, and like I said to you from the beginning, my dad's like the stronghold, the keeper of the family. And I was like his part-time carer, always supporting my sister. So if we put the periods of the in and out, when I'm out, I'm taking care of my family as well as trying to do the right thing. And my dad come to live with me. My sister, after 10 years of devoting her life to and looking after her kids, my dad, she said she can't do it no more. And I ended up taking my dad, and he was living with me for a year. So I become his full-time carer of looking after him. And he's at the stage of 10 years of having Alzheimer's. So I'm washing him, I'm cleaning him, feeding him, giving him, he can't do nothing for himself, and it basically just walk up and down. And that took a big effect on my mental health as well, because anybody that knows about Alzheimer's or dementia, or somebody that's had a family member, it's the longest goodbye. And you're slowly watching them deteriorate day in, day out. And like I said, like there's no one better than each other without my parents, because I loved them equally the same. But my dad was that guy that he was very respected in his community, his Maltese community. He was a very respected person around everywhere. Like, so to see such a strong individual lose their way, lose their self and become a child, it was very hard for me to look after him for that whole year. But I did it and was proud to do it. But during this point, I'm not seeing my kids because I've got no support at this point. My sister can't, she's had enough, she just needs to focus on her. So I'm not seeing my kids. But then I made a decision from having him from January to December to take my dad back, and I now need to focus on, much I love my dad, my kids are the most important in this world. So that ended up happening. Sadly, my dad passed away in 2020, February the 15th. And yeah, that just, that broke my spirit, if to say the least. Like, it was, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like your king, your master, your God, your everything, innit? The person that, if it wasn't for you, God knows what would have happened at that time in childhood and stuff like that. So it was very a very difficult time. And because of that happening, my mental health's deteriorating. I'm not focused, I'm thinking different, I'm behaving different, and I end up getting sectioned again last year.
Last year? What, during the lockdowns?
During the lockdown, yeah. Right. No, 20 was the lockdown? Yeah, it was lockdown. Yeah. So 2020 June. So my dad died in February, and then because of I've not even dealt with anything from my childhood, let alone what's coming in my life every so often or whatever. So when my dad's passed away now, like I'm kind of reverting back, but not knowing it, in the sense like my attitude's changing, my vibes is changing. I've not got the same purpose or goal. I'm just in a dark place, and which is understandable, because if anybody that's lost a family member, mum, dad, it's not an easy thing, and it's something that you have to either be prepared or aware of how you're feeling and your character, your change, the mood and your shift, and like, do you know what I mean? So I ended up not being in control of whatever I was going through. But I'm not always going to put it down to mental health breakdown, because it's certain people that I'm around at that time, and this is just my theory of it. Like, other people can have whatever opinion they want, but same thing again, instead of calling it a breakdown, I'll call it a breakthrough. for me, and an awakening. But same thing again, I kind of felt like I was under a spiritual attack, and it was like I was on some psychological warfare. I was, not to go too deep into things, just to kind of break it down for those that don't know, like in this, where we are, this is the 3D. We're in the 3D dimension, and we can ascend to the 4th, the 5th, and you can see things. And this is just my opinion. I don't want people to think I'm talking out of context, because I'm talking about my own personal experience. So when you ascend to a certain level, you can now become in tune with stuff that other people can't visualize or kind of hear, or like a open air message kind of thing. So I'm going through this process, and not many people know this, but this is something I believe that happened to me. And where it was happening, and I didn't have the knowledge, I didn't know anything about these levels or what's going on. It was too powerful for me, and it was very scary. It was a very scary situation, and I ended up being on the road. Like at this point, I'm going into shops, taking what I want. Like I was just doing random. See the postman, I took the postman's bag off of him. Like, you know, like
Find anything nice?
No,
people's bills.
No, do you know? This is the thing.
Yeah.
It's not even like I'm taking it to rob it or go through it. I'm just taking advantage of this higher level state of being that I'm in. This is just my views of what happened, isn't it? So I can only say it as it is and tell my truth. So that was happening, and then I was just putting a couple of people under pressure that wasn't expecting it, and when they understood, like, right, he's lost the plot, like he's just, so that ended up happening. And then I found myself I was in Brockley, which is southeast London, close proximity of Peckham, Lewisham, like that sort of area, Dulwich, Forest Hill. And the police got called because I'm talking some mad stuff that doesn't seem real or reality, but in my eyes and how I was feeling, it was my reality. And it was, I slowly learned, which I'll talk about in a second. Sorry, I just need to...
Yeah, go for it. Like I said at the beginning, all of Daniel's links are in the description box below the video, and Nick's as well. It is what it is TV. Yeah.
So that point where the police have been called, now I told you, like, I'm going into shops, I'm turning up to people, like, what's yours is mine, and if you've got a problem, I'm here in this state of mind. And it never came to a problem, but that's how I was moving, with that kind of mindset. So the police obviously got called, innit, and they cornered off, like, say like Brockley Rides, there's if you come from one end, turn round, say just turn this way, there's a long road that goes all the way up, and then you can go to Lewisham from that way. They blocked off both corners of the road. Yeah, 2 bully vans. They had like 6-7 police surrounding me, and they're like, just calm down, boom, 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 calm down. So every time they come near me, I'm kind of going for them, innit? And they're not just saying it, they were terrified. Like, there's 6-7 of them. Then another firm of them turned up and was like, just walked over to me, and this is the truth, and they violated what they should have been doing, but they all just went boom, bow, 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 shot me in my chest here, in my heart, shot me with the tasers, by the way.
Right, I was going to say.
So shot me here in my heart, well, in my chest, and one in my head.
A taser in your head?
Yeah. This is. What
did that feel like?
This is what I mean, because to some people that may hear the story will say, yeah, whatever. But those that know me, people that know me, I ain't got nothing reason to lie. I can only tell you my truth. So, yeah, that ended up happening. And then I just remember feeling it collapsing to the floor, and then I'm on the floor and I'm like, if you're this guy who you think you are and you're at this level, slow everything down and stand up. And then I just stood up and started pulling the things out of me. Yeah. And couple of the police run across the road there. And then,
Well, you got us going now.
yeah, no, this, because do you know what? This is a side of things that people don't really know about. And I'm not ashamed to talk about it because I know the truth, innit? I know what happened, and I know no one can say, oh, he's this, he's that, he's mad, don't listen. I know what happened. It was facts, innit? So that ended up happening, and then they
ran.
No, so when that's happened, and I've stood up and a couple of them run, I got that final one and they just held it and I just collapsed. And then the last thing I know is being in cuffs and coming round in the bully van, and then just straight carted off to the hospital. But this section was totally different. Like, it was a very, very high level battle, if I say it like that. Yeah, so yeah.
So when you're in there, then you said it was like a battle for you internally in your mind, or a battle against the doctors and
the doctors, everybody. So I'm still in this same mindset. So I'm high level thinking, I'm thinking this one, that one, but once again I always pull myself around because I'm in a situation where I don't even like to call them nutters, or there's people suffering with their psychological warfare or whatever they're going through. They just don't have no understanding. But it was like the first time I'm here, I'm acting a certain way, I've got this certain aggression with me, no one's really on it with me. The doctors, they're kind of just staying out of my way, and then I'm seeing other people just acting super loopy. So I said to myself, right, we're here again now, I've got to strategize to get out again. So, but this time there's no taking the medication out of your mouth. There's none of that.
Why? They check?
I've got two guys next to me like that checking. So even if I tried to come with that kind of aggressive, boisterous, they wasn't having it. And I know the deal. You refuse, you're getting injected. So now, because of the level that I've gone to, I'm on 15 medication a day and a syrup, a juice. So I'm on this every single day, and I'm just there. I'm going through what I'm going through.
What did you feel like on it?
Gone.
Yeah,
gone. Like sleeping in my food and things like that. But it got to the stage where I said to myself, same thing it's always been: survival, strategy, plan. You against me, I've got to try to win. And that's how I ended up getting sectioned a lot longer though. I got sectioned for 6 weeks this time. So the first time I got out first review, this time it wasn't a review to come out. They detained me for another 3 weeks. Yeah, and I still came out not all there again. It was just kind of strategizing a way to make them believe that I'm good to come out. And I just went in there and said, look, I understand I'm unwell and I need this medication. So there wasn't no battling, and then they ended up letting me come out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was that. But there was some, like, it's sad, it's mental health, and this is something like I'm very, very passionate about. Like, we all go through difficult times in our life, yeah? We're all faced with different challenges and different mishaps, and we're all different people. But one thing we're all the same is we've got a heart, a soul, a mind, feelings and emotions. And that will never change in human beings. Do you know what I mean? And it's so important to check up on each other. Like, if you're going through something and you've got no one to speak to, reach out. Like, there is people that care, or if you know a friend or a family member who's going through a difficult time, reach out to them. It doesn't cost nothing, it doesn't hurt nothing. And what's most important, everybody needs somebody, innit?
Yeah.
And the problem what we have with mental health is, if I say to you, this is natural instinct as a human being, if I say to you, how you doing, Sean? You're going to naturally say to me, or you say to me, Daniel, how you doing? I'm going to be, I'm all right. But guess what? I'm not all right. And I've not been feeling all right. But I'm not going to tell no one that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to suffer in silence, and I'm going to deteriorate, and I'm not going to be able to cope.
It's okay not to be okay.
It's okay to not be okay. That's it. And that's the message that I'm really trying to push with this mental health. Like, it could be a bad day, a bad week, the worst year of your life. But one thing, if you don't bottle it up, and if you speak and you have a voice, or speak to somebody that's not part of your circle, it can help, because you're releasing stuff that's built up. And it's just like a pot. When you boil it and you don't turn it down, simmer it, it's just going to overflow with the lid on. And this is what happens a lot with mental health. And it's something, as men, we are too ashamed or feel like we're not alpha or strong enough if we let people know that we're struggling and we're suffering, because the stigma that comes with it and the labels, and people would rather just suffer in silence. And I urge everybody, like, trust me, I'm a living testimony to this. If you're going through anything, any hardship, you've been through things in your childhood, release it before it's too late, because you don't want to end up in the situations that I've ended up in, which could have been prevented if I did have the right support. Yeah, so
this is definitely one of the most inspirational testimonies we've ever had from someone on mental health.
Yeah, it's just
so
it's
powerful,
just
Daniel.
The icing on it, really. But I'm not even going to lie, Sean. I need to go to the toilet, you know.
No, all right, we're finished. We're finished. Hold on, we're at the 2 hours now.
Before, because I've not really touched on the.
All right, so we left off with Daniel telling us the story of where he got tased, and he was, out and about, picks himself up, pulls him out, but then they got him with one final one. Yeah,
so when I've collapsed on the floor, I've landed on my face, and which you can probably see from the camera, I've got missing teeth. So that was a big, a big thing for my insecurities and stuff like that, and just that was a big thing for me, even to come on podcasts and things like that, because it's embarrassing to have missing teeth naturally, isn't it? But there's a reason behind it, and that comes with the journey. So.
But within a record time, you doing this charity work.
Yeah. So when I came out of the hospital I went in June and I came out in July. So I was in for 6 weeks. May, and then came out July. I'm, like I explained, I'm never on medication when I come out. It's only the 2 times I've been in there. So I'm still struggling. I'm still going through a difficult time. And see, there's little bits I've left out as well, which is important, which is the selling the drugs and stuff. I decided, and I think, do you know what? This is a very, very important message. And like I said, no one's to judge anybody, and we don't have the right to do that. But each to their own, and it just wasn't my path and purpose. So I've got a line now, and I'm doing quite well, actually. I'm making a bit of money, no crazy money, but making a bit of change. And I've been doing this consistently now for a couple of years. So I'm out there, mainly the coke and the weed, but it's the coke that made me really change up how I was living. And like I explained in the beginning, which is important for people to know, there's some people have to shot or move food or whatever they're doing because they have no other option and way. But sometimes if you go down this road and it's not you, it's not your purpose, you've got kids, you've got family, you want to be there for them, you don't want to show them this wrong example, then at some point you have to make that conscious decisions subconsciously, first and foremost, to understand the effect that you're having on the people that you're dealing with. And I kept going through a cycle where every day, see, I don't like to stay on this spiritual stuff too much, but this is the reality, and this is real. Like, my opinion, like, you can get visions, signs, messages from certain places. You just have to be aware of what's going on. And this is 2018. So from 2016, I had a shop in Peckham, which I was explaining, and I was still juggling a bit. Then I left there and was still doing my thing, clothes and the shotting. And 2018, I made a decision. Like, my phone was nothing to glorify, but this is something people need to understand. The money, which we all know, is, the quote's there for a reason. It's the root of all evil, and it opens up a lot of avenues for a lot of other sins to take place in your life, which will lower who you are in this world for the, you know. And I'd made a decision because every time I was meeting someone and giving them a packet or whatever, I'm taking their £100, they could even be turning up with their kids. For about 2 weeks, I was saying this to Nick yesterday, like, I kept having a feeling and a message. Like, my purpose is to take care of people and to be a carer. So as much as the money, I'm deteriorating these people. By every packet I give them, they're
sending off the wrong energy.
Exactly. It could be their kid's last £100, the parents, and they're giving it to me. So I'm always going home saying, no, this ain't right. Like, it's nothing to do with police or being paranoid or nothing like that. I just said, these people that I'm meeting, I'm taking all their money, I'm deteriorating them, they're losing the plot with their missus, the kids are struggling. And I had a phone that was doing quite well. I woke up one day and I said to myself, enough's enough, and I snapped the chip and I put it in the drain in 2018. So I've never looked back, and that was Christmas time. And yeah, so my life has been clean, and obviously the journey of the transition after coming out of the hospital, I set up my homeless organisation, Back on Your Feet. Like we said, losing family members, my cousin, through drugs and mental health and stuff like that. So I decided to do an outreach, and that's why it's good to have brothers like Nixon that was with me. He didn't follow me on the journey, but he was always been part of the journey, and he was with me that day. And we both went to Lidl's and
other supermarkets available.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's it. And I had about, but prior to that, which people that was around me know, I withdrew £2,000. I took £2,000 to the bank, and I changed 1,000 into fivers and 1,000 into £10 notes, and I started giving it around and giving it to vulnerable people. Anyone I see, I'll be like, oh, here's a fiver, here's a tenner, here's 20. So I was doing that for a minute, and I was on that mission of like, do you know what, this money that I've made, because I know the power of it and where it's come from, the karma effect, I just didn't want to have it around me. So I said, you know what, best way, just give some of it out. I gambled about 20 grand of it on the roulette within that 1 year.
Black or red?
Any. Odds, evens, zero. But yeah, it went pear-shaped, and I lost all my money. And the last little bit of money I had, I gave away to people on the street. And a couple of people was thinking, oh, he's gone mad again. What's he up to? Is he going down the same road again? But at this point now, I know my purpose. So I've decided to go back to it, go to Lidl's. I had £15 to my name, and I went and bought chicken, mince, vegetables and rice. And I went back to my mum's house. And my mum at this time, something again I forgot to mention, is suffering with terminal cancer. So I found out my mum had cancer before my dad died. So it was just an effect, and then I was taking care of her. But she was that one that gave me those motivational words like, look, if this is what you believe in, this is what you want to do, don't worry about nothing, just go ahead and do it. So I made 15 food boxes, and I went from Surrey Quays to Peckham. No, Surrey Quays to New Cross to Peckham, which is in the same circle. But then got a train to Shoreditch. And from that day, I done every single day for 9 months. For seven days a week for 9 months, I'd hit the street and I'd walk all around London, north, south, east, west, just get on the train, get off any random stop. If I see anybody in need, distribute food, clothing. And with Back on Your Feet, it's a non-profitable organisation. So I fund everything myself, and I've also the public that make donations to my GoFundMe page, they support me to buy essential items. So I've done many different projects, been doing many different projects of for the vulnerable people. So I started off doing the food and drink project, then I've done the clothing initiative, handing out clothing, footwear. I've done a winter initiative where handing out sleeping bags, woolly hats, gloves, hand warmers, anything that come with it.
Have you seen that new, sorry to interrupt, have you seen that new project? I think I sent it to you on WhatsApp, where they're making out of recycled crisp packets.
Yeah, I know
those
them,
blankets.
Yeah. They're putting them together for the
they're
foil
really cool.
blankets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I've actually been in chats with that person.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so we was doing lots of that, and I learned how to cut hair in jail. So I started giving the homeless people haircuts where I was just going around the streets. I travelled to Derbyshire and done Leicester, Sheffield, Chesterfield, Derby, done an outreach. I've put, since October last year, I've supported over 3,000 people single-handed myself, because I don't have a team. I have a couple of members, but they're not committed because of other commitments and stuff. So it's just been go from there, and people start seeing what I'm doing, offering me support, like other organisations, making food for me. And it's been a great journey, and I've learnt so much more about myself and my purpose. And so Back on Your Feet's been founded for a year now. It was our anniversary on the 15th of this month. And just got so much more things to come, in the sense of what I've been talking about, of the work that I want to do is to tackle young people's behaviour and help them not make the same mistakes, provide support with mental health, especially like vulnerable women, which is very important to me. Having, not many people know about this, but obviously I've had family members struggling with addictions and stuff like that, homelessness, and a couple of aunties have been raped and things like that. So it's something that I've never mentioned, but this is the goal, the vision is, say for instance, there was a young lady called Louise on my page. She'd been homeless, she's got kids, but came from a violent relationship, and she said to me, Daniel, some man keeps trying to get into my sleeping bag and touch me and whatever. So I paid for her to go into a hotel for 5 nights, and then I done a referral for her to get into a hostel, and then she's now got a flat. So that's the goal of Back on Your Feet, is to keep making a difference in people's lives that
Do
are
you
going
work with
through.
safe houses?
No, not safe houses. It's called Street Link, which is a referral, and then they come out, see them, put them into accommodation. So and it's been all go from there, because it's been every day. But like I said, it was every day for 9 months. But because of my energy, and I was giving so much out, not enough sleep, and taking care of myself, I've took a couple of months off to focus on my life. And now I've got a shop where I'm selling my online clothes. I've got a base for my online store, and also it's connected with Back on Your Feet.
We've got to mention your shoes today. You've got to get them on camera.
Oh yeah, can you hold your shoe up?
It's giving me shoe envy.
Out-booted Jen's boots today. Look at those.
Well done.
Let's get them up.
Bloody hell. Troll's gonna have a field day with that.
Oh yes.
So that's that, and got a lot of things coming, especially with It Is What It Is TV, and other people connecting and just using the platform, doing good, putting good out there, and reaping the rewards of the goodness that we do. So that's the goal. So guys, don't forget, go follow Back on Your Feet on Instagram. Go follow It Is What It Is TV on Instagram and on YouTube. Obviously, Sean, Jenny, and the team. But guys, thank you so much for listening to my story, and please follow the journey of Back on Your Feet, helping make a difference in people's lives that are going through a difficult, traumatic time in life and just need that extra bit of support, little bit of care, which we all need as human beings.
Definitely.
Such a powerful mission, Daniel, and
thank you.
what an amazing way to end it. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I'm sure the people watching this are going to want to support you. So if you enjoyed this story today, what's happened in Daniel's life, he's been to hell and back and hell and back and hell and back and hell and back, and now he's got this mission. If you want to support his mission, you know, at least go and subscribe to his socials, Instagram, Back on Your Feet, YouTube, Back on Your Feet TV. He's got a GoFundMe as well.
Yeah, GoFundMe.
He's got a GoFundMe. We'll have that link down there. We'll have Nick's It Is What It Is TV down there as well, who organised this interview today. And Jen's as well, if you want the organic cotton boots. There's going to be a line of boots coming out next. yeah. So,
and just one more thing, Sean. Sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
So, just for the viewers, like, I've got the link for the GoFundMe page, and as you know, many people get given money and you don't know where the funds go. With me, I document and log every single thing on my socials. So, and I also send you a receipt or give you an update of where your funds has been used. So you can also use me as a portal if you want to make a difference in someone's life, but you don't have the time, or you've got family or working, can't get out there like that, and you'd like to invest in myself to do the work. I'm more than happy to do that and update you where your funds have gone. So thank you.
Sweet. All right, man. Give us a hug.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers. Come here. Yeah. Cheers.
Do well.
Here at Boomer and Jen, we offer a wide range of organic or recycled clothing. We all know our planet is important. We only have this one, so it's vital that we all work together to slow down and reverse the changes to the environment. Whilst we all know that big industry are having a significant effect on pollution, here at Boomer and Jen, we believe that if we all make small changes, we can do our part. Fast fashion causes detrimental effects to the planet. Not only is nearly 20% of global wastewater produced by the fast fashion industry, but there is a considerable amount of fast fashion ending up in landfill. So let's move away from fast fashion items that are only worn once or twice and start wearing extremely comfortable, durable and environmentally friendly clothing and ethical jewellery. Boomer and Jen was founded in a quiet town in Devon in 2018. It has now gone from strength to strength as the world is becoming more aware of the current climate situation, helping our customers to buy sustainable, quality clothing. All of our products are fair trade and registered with the Global Organic Textiles Standard Association. Check us out on organiccottonclothing.co.uk.